17 minutes. That's how long the FBI needed inside Judge Caldwell's chambers before they began carrying out boxes. 17 minutes to tear apart a career that took 32 years to build. 17 minutes before the man who had sentenced thousands of people to prison was photographed watching federal agents search through his own desk. His hands were shaking. Witnesses saw it. The same hands that signed arrest warrants. The same hands that slammed the gavel like a weapon, shaking. And the look on his face, pure fear. Because Judge Caldwell knew something the rest of us didn't. He knew what was on those recordings. He knew exactly what the FBI was about to find. And he knew there was no ruling that could save him this time. So what made the FBI raid the chambers of a sitting federal judge in broad daylight? One recording, one conversation, one moment of pride caught on tape that he believed would never be heard. Judge Marcus Caldwell, 23 years on the federal bench, creator of some of the harshest sentences in his district, the man defendants prayed they would not get, finally met the one thing he could not scare: evidence. But here's the truth. This was not a small mistake. This was not bad luck. This was years of quiet complaints, hidden anger, and suspicious patterns finally turning into something the Department of Justice could not ignore. The recording everyone is talking about is coming. I'm going to play it for you. But first, you need to understand the kind of man we are dealing with, because Judge Caldwell did not just bend the rules. According to prosecutors, he built a whole system meant to help himself and punish anyone who questioned him. Defense lawyers knew. Court staff knew. Even other judges whispered about him behind closed doors. But nobody could prove anything until someone pressed record. And what the man behind the robe captured changes everything you think you know about American justice. Here's what really happened. The moment that brought the FBI to a federal courthouse with a warrant. It was a Tuesday afternoon, normal court business, nothing strange on the schedule. But inside Judge Caldwell's chambers, a conversation was happening that would end his career, and someone, whose identity is still sealed by federal prosecutors, was recording every word. The audio is rough. You can hear papers moving, chairs creaking, but Caldwell's voice is clear. The Henderson case, I need it buried. Make sure the right clerk pulls it, and I'll make sure your firm keeps getting good rulings. We've done this before. Don't act like you don't know the deal. Let that sink in. A federal judge on tape clearly explaining a quid pro quo deal with an attorney, talking about changing cases like it was normal office work. But it gets worse. The other voice on the recording, said to be a well-known local defense lawyer, asks, "What about the defendant? He's facing 15 years. Caldwell answers, "Then he should have hired you instead." Not my problem. Henderson goes away, your client walks, everybody wins. Except Henderson, but nobody cares about him anyway. The room on the recording goes quiet for a moment. Then laughter. Two men laughing about ruining someone's life. 15 years treated like a joke. When this audio leaked, first to a local investigative reporter and then to federal authorities, the response was fast. Within 72 hours, the FBI had a warrant. Within 96 hours, they were inside Caldwell's chambers. The video from that day is unreal. Agents in jackets carrying boxes through marble halls built to show power and permanence. Court staff frozen in doorways watching. Other judges stepping out of their offices, faces pale. One courthouse worker who spoke anonymously described it like this: "It was totally silent. Nobody knew what to do. We had never seen anything like it. He was untouchable for so long. And suddenly the FBI was everywhere." The recording that changed everything, but here's what nobody expected. The recording was not just about one case. Investigators now believe it was part of a bigger pattern. When agents searched Caldwell's chambers, they were not only looking for Henderson files, they were looking for proof of a system. Years of changed rulings, hidden cases, and special treatment for lawyers willing to play along. Sources close to the case say agents took 3 computers, dozens of files, and personal notebooks. Caldwell kept locked in his desk. A former clerk, speaking anonymously, said something that shocked the legal world. He kept lists. Everyone knew about the lists. Which lawyers he liked. Which defendants he wanted to bury. It was like a record book. A record book. A federal judge keeping score like a gambler. And the Henderson case mentioned on the recording, that defendant, Marcus Henderson, has been sitting in federal prison for 11 years. 11 years for a case that, if the claims are true, was rigged from the start. His family is now demanding a review, and they are not alone. Since the raid, 17 defendants have filed motions saying their cases were damaged by Caldwell's alleged corruption. 17 people in prison right now who believe they were trapped in a rigged system. And here's the scary part. Legal experts say that number could grow into the hundreds, because if Caldwell was doing this for years, if this was really a system and not a one-time mistake, then every case he touched could be tainted. Every ruling, every sentence, every life he controlled is now under review. If you're watching this thinking someone finally exposed what was happening behind closed doors, hit subscribe right now. I'm just getting started, and what comes next is even darker than you expect. But not everyone agrees with the story. Judge Caldwell's supporters say this is a setup, a political attack on a tough-on-crime judge who made powerful enemies by refusing to bend. And honestly, when you hear their side, you'll see why this is not so simple. Caldwell's lawyer released a statement within hours of the raid. Judge Caldwell has served this nation with honor for over 2 decades. This investigation is based on a recording of unknown origin, possibly edited, and almost certainly obtained illegally. We are confident that when the facts come out, Judge Caldwell will be fully cleared. Possibly edited. That's a serious claim. And some legal experts are asking hard questions. One former federal judge said it like this: "The speed of this raid worries me. Investigations into sitting judges usually take months or years. This felt fast. That means either the evidence is overwhelming or someone wanted headlines. Social media is split. Half the posts are celebrating accountability in the justice system. The other half point out problems. Why now?" The recording is said to be from 2 years ago. Why did it take so long to appear? Who made it? The person's name is sealed, so we don't know their reason. Were they a hero or someone looking for revenge? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Federal judges make enemies. Every decision creates a winner and a loser. Every sentence hurts a family. Some of those families would do anything for payback. Judges have been targeted before. One ethics expert warned that fake evidence and edited recordings do happen more often than people think. So who is right? Defenders cry witch hunt. Is Judge Caldwell a corrupt judge who finally got caught? Or is he the victim of something darker, a planned effort to destroy a man who could not be controlled? That question is keeping lawyers awake at night, and the answer is still unclear. But this didn't come out of nowhere. Long before the recording appeared, the warning signs were there. Defense lawyers in Caldwell's district had a nickname for him: the executioner. Not because he gave death sentences. Federal judges rarely do, but because of how harsh his sentences were. Prosecutors loved his courtroom. Defense lawyers feared it. If your client was black or poor, you were done, one public defender said privately. Facts didn't matter. He had already decided. Complaints stacked up. The Judicial Conduct Board received at least 12 formal complaints over 15 years. Claims of racial bias. Claims of private talks with prosecutors. Claims that he made decisions before trials even started. None of it stuck. Every complaint was dismissed or quietly settled. One lawyer who complained 7 years ago remembers what happened. "I was told to drop it, not officially. Nobody writes that down. But I was told my career here would be over if I kept going. So I stopped." He stopped. They all stopped. Because Judge Caldwell was not just powerful in court. He had connections everywhere. Police, local politics, even the oversight board had people he once mentored. Anyone who pushed back became isolated, losing cases, losing clients, losing their name. He had a network. A former court worker said if you crossed him, people knew. You'd be shut out without anyone explaining why. 23 years of warning signs. The pattern was clear. Caldwell acted without fear because the system protected him until it didn't. The person who made the recording didn't go through official steps. They didn't file a complaint. They went straight to the press and the FBI at the same time. They knew the system was broken, so they went around it. And now Judge Caldwell is learning what it feels like when the rules don't protect you. Drop a like if you're seeing the pattern here. The biggest part of this story is coming. Then came the moment that changed everything. The raid itself lasted a little over 3 hours, but the first 17 minutes did the most damage. Judge Caldwell was inside his chambers when agents arrived. No warning, no phone call. The door opened. Federal agents, warrant in hand. Caldwell reportedly said 5 words. "This is a terrible mistake." Then he sat at his desk and watched them open his cabinets. Watched them photograph his screens. Watched them take his notebooks, the ones he thought no one knew about. Sources say he didn't speak again for 3 hours. Didn't call his lawyer until the agents were gone. Didn't look at anyone. One worker said he looked like a man watching his own funeral. 3 hours. That's all it took. 3 hours to seize 23 years of possible evidence. But while everyone watched the drama, they missed something important. During the raid, agents were also questioning court staff in another room. Interviews happening at the same time as the search. At least 4 employees were questioned. They were asked about Caldwell's relationships with certain lawyers, his handling of cases, and whether anyone else knew about the lists. This was no longer about one recording. The FBI was mapping a network, and what they learned led to more search warrants being prepared that same day. This was not random. This was the start of something much bigger. Caldwell thought the recording was his only problem. He was wrong. While everyone focused on the audio, investigators were building a case far bigger than one conversation. And the people connected to it are panicking right now. Don't go anywhere. What comes next changes everything. Drop a comment. How many people do you think are involved? The raid minute-by-minute experts say this is unheard of. One former federal prosecutor explained it clearly. Raiding a sitting federal judge is extremely rare. The legal and political risks are huge. You only do this if you are completely sure. In simple terms, the FBI didn't raid Judge Caldwell because of one recording. They did it because that recording confirmed what they already suspected and gave them the legal power to act. Behind closed doors, lawyers are whispering. This could destroy an entire district. Hundreds of cases could be affected. Appeals could take 10 years. It's a nightmare for the justice system. Even defense lawyers are worried. Justice delayed is justice denied. Caldwell may be guilty, but what about the people still sitting in prison while this gets sorted out? Families could wait years for answers. This didn't have to happen. The system failed long before the recording. This is not just about one bad judge. It's about a system that protected him for decades. A system that ignored warnings and let power go unchecked. Experts say the Caldwell case will be remembered either as a victory for accountability or proof of how broken judicial oversight really is. Either way, nothing will ever be the same in that district. Smash the like button if this opened your eyes. It helps more than you know. Now, what does this mean for you? Every case Judge Caldwell touched in the last 20 years is being reviewed. Thousands of defendants, thousands of families, thousands of lives possibly affected by rigged trials. If you were ever in his courtroom, this matters to you. Lawyers are already flooded with calls from former clients asking for reviews. Appeals are coming. Legal aid groups are preparing for what they call an unprecedented wave of requests. But the courts are already overwhelmed. These cases could take years, and people who may be innocent are still behind bars. If you care about fairness, this should worry you. Not because Caldwell might be innocent, that's for a jury to decide, but because the damage from his alleged actions could take decades to fix. Legal experts react, and the bigger picture is even worse. If this investigation grows, and sources say it will, federal judicial oversight may be completely changed. Congress is already talking about emergency laws. Every federal courtroom is now under suspicion. Trust has been damaged, maybe forever. And here's the question nobody wants to ask. How many other judges like Caldwell exist? If he operated for 23 years with complaints ignored, what does that say about the system? Are there others doing the same thing right now? How would we know? Experts estimate there are about 3,500 federal judges and magistrates in the U.S. Oversight is weak. Complaints rarely stick. The system runs on trust. One bad judge is a scandal. Many bad judges would be a crisis. Then Caldwell made it worse. 2 days after the raid, he released a personal video, a huge mistake. He looked into the camera and said, "I have spent my life protecting justice. I put criminals behind bars to protect your families, and this is my reward." An ambush by political actors who hate law and order. This is not justice. This is an attack. He never mentioned the recording, never explained Henderson, never answered the claims. Instead, he attacked. And the online reaction was brutal. People said listening to a judge accused of selling justice talk about law and order was the peak of corruption. Families of inmates shared their own stories. Claims of bias and racism suddenly felt real. What this means for you, the lawyer heard on the recording has gone silent. His firm said, no comment. His social media is gone. Sources say subpoenas are coming for other lawyers. The network is cracking. Supporters of Caldwell have raised a defense fund over $400,000 in 3 days. They call him a patriot and the last honest judge. The country is splitting into 2 stories. The more Caldwell fights, the more evidence appears. The cover-up is making things worse. And here's the strange part. Why did the recording appear now, right before an election cycle focused on accountability. Why is the person who made it still anonymous? Sources say this goes beyond Caldwell. One former official said, "You don't use this many resources for one judge. Caldwell is just the door." There are rumors that other judges have hired defense lawyers. Phone records have been taken. Something is coming. The raid was just the beginning. Caldwell fights back. When indictments start, experts say this could be the biggest judicial corruption case in U.S. history. Caldwell may be the first, not the last. Subscribe and turn on notifications. When it breaks, I'll be here. Here's where things stand. Judge Caldwell is on administrative leave. He cannot enter the courthouse or access files. A grand jury has been formed. At least 6 witnesses have already testified. His lawyer says charges are not certain and claims he is innocent. But here's what's not in official reports. 3 days ago, an unmarked car with federal plates was seen outside the home of the lawyer from the recording. That lawyer left town the same night. Marcus Henderson has filed an emergency request to review his case. His family is speaking publicly. A new judge with no ties to Caldwell is reviewing it. That is not by chance. What's coming next in the next 30 days? Big decisions are coming. A new hearing for Henderson, more search warrants. Possible charges against Caldwell. Time is running out. Caldwell is fighting hard, hiring more lawyers, claiming persecution, acting like he can still win. But stories like this never end quietly. Investigators now say there may be many more recordings. The person who made them is under federal protection. There's even an unconfirmed rumor that one name on Caldwell's list belongs to a member of Congress. Is it true or a lie? I don't know yet, but I do know this. What comes next will be bigger than anyone expects. A judge, a network, hidden recordings, a cover-up that may go far beyond one courthouse. The only question is, will you be watching when it all comes apart? Subscribe, notifications on. When it breaks, I'll be here. Something massive is about to.